Coffee is good and recording is in progress. Okay. So welcome everybody to Senior Roundtable. We are so happy that you are here. Hopefully a great way to start your almost weekend. Maybe some of you are going to play some hooky, or this is your only meeting for the day and you have a lighter day today. My name is Laura Steigelman. I'm the facilitator of Senior Roundtable and have been since the beginning. You'll hear more about that in just a second. And I love this group. I love the meetings. I have learned so much personally that I have shared either with my own family members and people that I care for that are older adults, which sadly I fit into, and even just friends going through different things with their parents and things like that. So I hope that you also benefit, and especially with our topic today, very relevant. So excited about that as well. If you are willing to keep your video on, it's just a nice perk that people can see each other. A lot of us work virtually, or we don't know everybody that's in the room, et cetera. So if you're willing to do that, that's great. There is what we call a Zoom ruler along the bottom of the screen. And if you look along the bottom of the screen, you're going to see the word chat. And we use that chat quite a bit as we move through the meeting today. And it is a way for you to interact with each other. There's a couple things we're going to suggest that you put in the chat box. So if you are willing to or able to, if you'll click on that chat, again, it's on the Zoom ruler down on the bottom of your screen. Typically, it's on the bottom of the screen. You'll see some messages and some different things going on in there. And I'll talk more about that here shortly as well. If you are not speaking, like if you're not asking a question or answering a question, if you're willing to keep yourself on mute just for that background noise. I know in our house, if Amazon is anywhere within 2 blocks, our 2 vicious pet dogs, joking there, bark like crazy. So if you are willing to put yourself on mute, you can do that either on that Zoom ruler, or you can do that just by hovering over your own video feed, your little picture, and the 3 dots will pop up and there's some options there to mute yourself. Also in that same area, we would love to know who you are. And one of the big reasons for these Senior Roundtable meetings is to give you an opportunity to network with one another. So if you are willing to put your first and last name and the name of the organization, if you choose to, if you are with an organization, you can do that by hovering over your picture. And again, the 3 dots will pop up and you can choose the rename. Mac is also going to put those instructions in the chat box. So if somebody's like, all right, I didn't quite catch what she said. Again, hovering over your picture, 3 dots, click rename. And then you can put your first and last name. And if you are with an organization, you can add that as well. Typically, there is room to do that. Again, today's meeting is recorded, so we will put that on the YouTube channel. You'll hear more about that. We'll remind you about that also as a way to stay connected or go back and look at some of those earlier programs. If you do need anything, Mac is monitoring the chat box. I am not good at multitasking. I try really hard. It's just not my forte. And I think I'm to that point in life that it probably is what it is. So if you need any help or have any questions, put that in the chat box. Mac's going to monitor that for us. He will respond to a lot of the stuff. He's kind of the expert on all these things behind the scenes. So he can help, or he'll let me know there's something in there that I need to pay attention to. Who is here for the very first Senior Roundtable meeting? Anybody here for the very first time? All right. All right. Welcome. Welcome. We are so happy that you are here. We hope you will continue to join us. About Senior Roundtable is what we're going to talk about next, especially for those folks that have not been here before. We're going to then hear a couple of minutes from our sponsor today for our meeting, and that is Beaches Council on Aging. So Lori will be speaking about her agency and the things going on there. We also have an opportunity to ask for you to share any organizational announcements that'll be coming up. You'll have a couple opportunities to network with one another. Dr. Nadine Ebri is our presenter today. Again, unbelievably thrilled to have her here. We'll talk more about that. And she's got a couple things she's going to talk about. First of all, using AI as we work with older adults in our own work, but also the work that we do for them. And then this really cool project that is available to all the seniors in the area and organizations called the Ripple AI-ffect. And she'll talk about that and let you know if you're interested or want to know more how to get a hold of her. So all of that will be going on. What did I miss at the very bottom here? Because door prizes. How did I miss that? So Lori, Beaches Council on Aging has donated 2 $25 gift cards. If you are here with us at the end of the meeting, and we hope that you are, we will randomly draw 2 names, and those folks will get an Amazon gift card of $25 courtesy of Lori and the Beaches Council on Aging. What is Senior Roundtable all about? Back in 2008, the Community Foundation started really focusing a lot on the senior sector and giving grants out to those nonprofits in that area. And they realized pretty quickly that a lot of the nonprofits in that area who are helping seniors didn't know of others who are maybe doing similar things or completely different things that their clients could benefit from. So that is how Senior Roundtable started, an opportunity to network. We have added in what we always hope is a valuable program for you, that you either learn more about something with your seniors, you learn something a little bit better on how to do your job, something that we think is relevant that will be helpful. And we always hope that that is the case when you leave our meetings. Huge shout out to ElderSource. And if you are an ElderSource person, and I know we've got at least 2 people here from ElderSource that joined us, please give us a wave. ElderSource handles everything behind the scenes. The emails that you get come from Gabby. Gabby and Andrea have been involved for many years doing all kinds of things behind the scenes. Whenever we have a in-person meeting, they allow us to use their space. So a huge thank you to them for everything that they do. Could not do it without them. We're very appreciative. Our Senior Roundtable, I mentioned, it's a coalition for anybody who is interested, whether you're with an agency, on your own, you're just curious about learning more about the senior sector, older adults, et cetera. We do meet every other month. 4 of them typically are on Zoom, and 2 of them are usually hybrid. You get an option to come in or to sign in via Zoom. It's always open to everybody. There's no charge to attend. Thanks to the Community Foundation, they take care of all of that for us. And again, mentioned that we always want to hopefully bring you a program that you feel like that was worth your time to come. And you can see our mission statement there is all about collaboration. These folks here, if you are here with us, if you will please, again, give us a wave. These are the folks behind the scenes that come up with some great topics, or somebody suggested them a great topic and they kind of bring it forward to the rest of the group here. So they are volunteers. They have full-time jobs outside of this. I can't imagine that. This is so important. I'm sure it takes up all their time. And they also reach out to people who are in that field. So, if they say, hey, this would be a great topic, we haven't done this for a while, it's who do you know in that field that would be a great speaker. So very much appreciate this advisory committee and all of the work that they do. With that, if you ever have a topic you would like to suggest, and especially if you know who the right speaker organization is to reach out to, please let us know. You can put that in the chat box, etc. We always are looking for future meetings. What's a great idea? What's something timely to get into, like today's AI meeting, etc. So please be willing to share if you have some ideas for us. We are always open for that. So I mentioned a little bit earlier about that chat box. Again, if you haven't opened that up yet, it should be around that Zoom ruler down on the bottom of your screen. And when you open up the chat box, you're going to see in there already folks are introducing themselves, saying who they are, which organization they're with, etc. The other thing we would encourage you to do is if you have any senior sector announcements, you have something coming up that others can partake in, maybe their seniors can partake in, maybe it's something that you need somebody to collaborate with you, like we want to do this such and such event, we're looking for partners to join us, etc. And then in addition, as the meeting rolls, at some point, introduce yourself. Who are you? If you're with an organization, share that as well. If you want to put your contact information in there, cell phone, business phone, email, whatever you choose to put in there. And I do clean that chat box up after the meeting is over, and we do include that in the post-meeting notes. So I leave it in there. Anybody who says, hey, I'm so-and-so, this is what we do, or gosh, this event's coming up, we hope you can enjoy us and join us. We will include all of that in the notes that you get post-meeting. So please introduce yourself. Any meeting notes that you would like to have in there, please do so. So how do we stay connected outside these meetings? Again, one of the big things is that networking. So multiple ways here. We will also put that in the chat box for you. We will include this again in those chat notes going out next probably Monday or Tuesday, by the time we get those cleaned up and sent out, along with the link to the recording. Gabby had mentioned, Gabby, that famous Gabby that's on here with us, she does the email. So if you want to get on the emails and you're not on there now, that is the way to do that. We also have a LinkedIn group. It's not for sales or spam or anything like that. It really is for those same kind of announcements that probably we will see in the chat box today. So that's the second place that you can put it. And you can also find maybe somebody that you met here, you didn't get their full name or contact, they could be in that LinkedIn group. So if you're interested in that, please feel free to join. And then I mentioned that we post the meetings that are being recorded, as this one is now, into our YouTube channel. So that's another way you can go back and grab this meeting if you thought, gosh, this is great, I'd like the rest of my team to see it, etc., or even going back to some of the previous meetings. What are some of those previous topics that we have had? I will leave this up there just for a few seconds so you can see the different things. And a lot of them are not time sensitive, like fall prevention from 2024. probably still 100% relevant with that information in the speakers as it was in 2024, even today. So there's a lot of those different things, such valuable. We did the transportation, senior wellness, all kinds of things that are on there that you can go back and take a look at. So today's meeting sponsor is Beaches Council on Aging. Lori is with us today, and again, giving away those two $25 gift cards. Lori, you've got 3 minutes on the clock to tell us anything that you would like to about your organization. If you'll set your own timer, I seem to have buried my phone someplace, so I will just count on you to do that.
I got it covered.
Thank you so much.
Facing me. It's facing me so I don't go over, because you know me, I can chat all day. Okay, here we go. Go. Good morning. I'm Lori Anderson. I'm the Executive Director of Beaches Council on Aging, better known by our program name, which is Dial-A-Ride. In fact, we're going to be Beaches Dial-A-Ride soon. We are a free transportation service for 62 and over living in the beaches area, which means that you have to live somewhere in Mayport or all the way through all the other beaches, down to Ponte Vedra Beach, 32082. We go across to Mayo Clinic and the Cypress Village area. And we ask for, it's only a phone call away. That's all you have to do. We get your information, we put you in our system, and we get you on our vans. We do ask for 3 days in advance because that's how busy we are. We have grown tremendously. We take people to not only medical appointments, but to get their hair done, their nails, the gym, the bank, to a restaurant, to go have lunch with a friend. We do anything. Our riders consist of dialysis patients. We have about a dozen of those that we take every single morning, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. When I first got there, we didn't work on Saturday. And I said, what do these poor people do? And nobody knew, so we started Saturdays. We also take temporary disabled. So if you got a knee operation and you have to go to physical therapy, but you're not 62, it's okay. We'll take care of you for 8 weeks. We also go, we take autistic people to Possibilities Plus. We have partnered with them, and we have a few memory care folks that we take to the memory care in Ponte Vedra. We have 6 vehicles. 5 of them are wheelchair accessible. We have a helpline of services that seniors can call. That's our extension 2, but they can call if they have any questions. We get that information from here and from the Beaches Collaborative. We have lots of different resources. We've been around 51 years. I've been with the organization 6 years. We've grown from 3 vans and 4 drivers to 6 vans and 12 drivers. And it's because the need is there. I don't have to tell all of you that the need is there. My tagline is, I want to make sure whoever needs us knows about us. Right now, we are hiring drivers, and I will put that in the chat, thanks to Laura. They are paid. They do not need a CDL. We ask for 2 8-hour days, which consist of about 8 to 4, and 1 Saturday every other month. But we are very desperate for those. The ideal candidate is a retired person who wants to fill their time and have a rewarding job that is flexible and fun and is doing a good deed. So I thank you all very much this morning for letting me, there it is, for letting me talk, and really, really appreciate it. I'll put the information that if you have a driver in mind, please email me, have them email me a resume, and I can get them in a van next week. Thank you.
Lori, thank you so much. And is it a bonus if they yell at other cars and things like that while they're driving down the road? Is that, because I know some family members, I could suggest that they become a driver. They've got all kinds of things to say while they're driving on the road. So hopefully not the case in yours. I'm sure they're very polite and awesome.
Yes.
So Lori, thank you. And thank you for being a sponsor. Again, Lori is donating 2 $25 gift cards. We will give those away with the random draw at the end of the meeting today. So who is here besides Lori and myself? Who is here with us today? This is an opportunity for you to grow your network. You'll get a chance for a few minutes in a breakout room with hopefully at least 1 or 2 people maybe that you haven't seen for a while, maybe some of you've never met before, and even just a chance to say hello and touch base. So this information will also be in the chat box. Mac is putting it in there as well. please share name, where you work if applicable. And if not, like I just have an interest in seniors or I do volunteer someplace. So it's always good to know what's going on and the resources out there. And what is your typical breakfast option? Are you a full plate, like the eggs, the bacon are there every morning? Are you a breakfast bar? Are you a nothing until lunch? What does that look like for you? Once you get into the breakout room, anytime you're in the breakout room, if you then click on the chat box, once you're in the breakout room, you can see those instructions. So if you're like, I forgot what we're supposed to do, what did she say? You can always click on that chat box and see it. But even if you just talk with each other and get to know each other and say hello, that is absolutely perfect for this opportunity. So with that, we are going to send you automatically. We are going to bring you back automatically, and you will see a timer, very small. It's just the way Zoom does it, a very small timer in the corner. Once that counts down, another 60 seconds will start. So you know to wrap up your conversation, and we will automatically bring you back. So we will see you in just a few minutes. Please enjoy your time together. And then going back to the recording, Mac, thank you so much. We are ready to hear from our speaker today. AI is out there. It is everywhere. Some of you may be using it a lot. Some of you are like, I'm not even sure what that's about. So you'll get some good education on this today. And we are so fortunate. Eustachius is in here with us. And Eustachius, if you'll give us a wave, he introduced me to Dr. Ebri last fall and on a completely different kind of initiative. And I was so impressed with that she was a resource for us here in Jacksonville. And then she happened to mention this presidential scholarship program that she's going that's for all seniors. And she's got this great program that's free of charge. It was just just a nice opportunity to be able to get her here with us. So you know this resource is out there, but also some, again, as it says, practical AI and how does that look? So with that, I am going to stop sharing. Nadine, if you will just keep kind of an eye on the clock, you've got till just about 20, 22 minutes after the hour, and then we'll just do the wrap up with the gift cards and things like that. If you need me, Nadine, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to mute myself and learn along with everyone else.
All right, thank you. And I'll go ahead and share one more time so I can make sure that my audio is also being shared as well. All right, can everybody hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So, hello everyone. My name is Nadine Ebri, and I'll go into a little bit of an introduction afterwards, but right now I'll just go ahead and hop right into it. And so I'll show you a few practical AI tools and also ways that you can engage in using these tools with the elder sector. And so today's objectives first, I wanted to just delve into helping you to understand what generative AI is and how it works. Also, to give you some time to practice or even observe if you just want to watch me using AI tools for real workplace tasks, to discuss responsible and ethical AI use, to explore organizational AI guidelines and policies, and also to use to view a practical AI implementation roadmap and to learn about an initiative that I started this year called the Ripple Effect and how you can engage with that. And so the format for today will do a little bit of learning, and then you'll be able to see it applied. If you want to follow along, I'll show you how to do that as well. If you want to watch, that's okay. And then we'll talk about some ethical considerations that's very important to consider when we're using these different generative AI tools. So I will start off with Gemini Notebook. However, we will most likely only have time for one other tool, Microsoft Copilot or ChatGPT. With ChatGPT, I plan to go deeper into agents. And with Microsoft Copilot, I can show you how to use Copilot within PowerPoint to create presentations quickly. And so in the chat, and I can't see the chat right now, but if somebody can let me know what people are leaning towards, I can make sure that's the second tool because we probably won't have time to go through all three, and I'll make sure to touch on the tool that you prefer. But at any point, if you can just let me, if you could just write in the chat what you prefer, and actually I could just pull it up. Let me see what we're seeing here. Okay, so I see ChatGPT, ChatGPT. Okay, so overwhelmingly ChatGPT. Okay, I got it. Okay, so starting off with artificial intelligence. So AI refers to computer systems designed to perform cognitive tasks that are typically associated with human intelligence. Think of things that humans typically do, and now think of a computer being able to do that for you, such as language understanding, reasoning, learning, decision support, prediction, and even generating content. And so it learns by studying examples and then it starts to recognize patterns. These AI models can be trained and developers can feed it large data sets. It can feed it large amounts of data. Usually the AI is as good as the data that it was trained on. And so it doesn't think. It cannot think like a human. It learns from data and then it predicts what it's likely based on its training. And so, although AI feels new, it's actually not new. This has been around, AI has been around since the 50s. Actually, the term artificial intelligence was coined in 1956. Um, and over the next few decades, it quietly became a part of our everyday technology. We started to hear a lot about it in 2022, and so, and then I'll go a little bit into that on the next slide. But you've been using AI for years. You've been using every time you open your GPS, you're using AI. Every time you're using the facial recognition on your phone, you're using AI. When you are typing a text message and it's predicting the next word, you're using AI. And so you use it more than you know. However, a lot of conversations around generative AI started when ChatGPT launched in November 30th of 2022. And the GPT stands for generative. That means it can create something new, pre-trained, which means it was trained before you ever used it. You had somebody who trained it, vetted a lot of data. And then T stands for transformer, which is the type of model it uses. And so within the first, I remember when it was first released, within the first week, it had millions of users. And so it's one of the most disruptive forms of technology. So in the 1970s, when the calculator came out, a lot of educators and people were even, there were news articles of people um, trying to get calculators out of the schools because it was disruptive. And think of this as a disruptive technology, but that has affected every subject in school, every profession. And so now we are learning how to navigate a world where this technology just continues to advance. It's not going away, but it's advancing at rapid speeds. And so this was the fastest growing consumer application in history ever. People were able to use this tool to write emails, to summarize documents, to create images, to brainstorm ideas. They were able to use it in so many different ways. And so I'll start by showing you Gemini Notebook and then we'll go into ChatGPT. And so with Gemini Notebook, if you want to find it, you can Google Gemini Notebook. This used to be called Notebook LM, but Google changed the name. And this is a free resource. And so if you want to follow along, you can Google and set up an account. It's called Gemini Notebook. And I will create a new notebook. And here you can upload any file, any document that you have. It could be YouTube videos, websites. You can put so much information into Gemini Notebook. And so here, I will go ahead and upload a ton of articles that I want to delve deeper into on AI because I want to learn more about it. And so there's a lot of articles that I wanted to read. So I uploaded all of them into Gemini Notebook. And now you can ask it questions about the specific articles or resources that you uploaded. And so I typed in summarize these articles. And what it did was it summarized all the articles that I put in there. And then I can go back to the chat and I can ask it questions simply about the information that I put in there. And so let's say you don't want to use a chat GPT, you just have a lot of resources and you just want to dig into those resources, you can use this. Another thing that I love about Gemini Notebook is that you can do a lot with it. So I can take all of those articles and resources and turn it into a podcast. I can make it a podcast where they're debating. I can make it a podcast in another language. I can make it short or long. And I can also describe what I want them to be talking about on the podcast. And I'll show you what that looks like in a second. Um, and so this is a way, let's say there's a lot of things that you wanted to just delve into, but you didn't have the time. Let's say you're about to do a long drive. You can turn it into a podcast and you can just listen to it instead. Also, you can turn information into a slide deck. So let's say you have a whole bunch of documents and you want to turn it into a slide deck, you can do that. You can turn it into a video using Gemini Notebook. I'm very tempted to say Notebook LM because that was a previous name. You can turn it into a mind map. I can create a report. I can turn it into flashcards if I want to study this material. I can turn it into a quiz if I want to quiz myself. I can also turn it into an infographic and then also a data table. I will say for the podcast part, sometimes it takes like 20 minutes to turn into a podcast. And so I actually started loading that well before we jumped on the call, just so I can show you what that looks like. So hopefully you're able to hear. And so I'll go back in here and I'll just play an example from these documents. And you can always add new sources. So if you add sources and afterwards you're like, oh, I want to add more sources. There's another website I didn't think about, or there's some more files I would like to add. You can add more sources here too. And so I can show you what some of these things look like. So I'll play just a piece of the podcast so you can hear it.
Welcome to the debate. Imagine you are a 15th century cartographer. You've just anchored off the coast of a newly discovered continent and you set out to map it. You start with what you can actually quantify.
Right. You meticulously chart the jagged lines of the coast.
Exactly. You measure the elevation of the mountain peaks. You calculate the vast stretching distances of the plains. It is this absolute triumph of measurement.
But the map, no matter how geometrically precise it is, completely fails to capture, say, the sudden violent ferocity of a summer storm rolling over those plains, or the incredible...
I'm going to skip past this intro. And so, okay. Sorry, I wanted to skip past all the...
And it was conceived within this much broader, wildly ambitious project called the 100-Year Study on Artificial Intelligence, the AI 100.
Which is a fascinating project in its own.
And it was conceived within this much broader, wildly ambitious project called the 100-Year.
Okay, so you can see how it turns it into a podcast. This podcast is 22 minutes. And so you can see why it takes so long to load. I could also turn it into a presentation. And so now you can see just from those documents, it turned it into a slideshow. Some other resources that I turned it into, let me X out of that. I did another podcast, but I did like a brief that summarizes it into 1 minute, 16 seconds. I also created, it also could generate an infographic based on the information that I put in. So turn all of that information into one infographic. You have flashcards, a quiz, where now I can actually quiz myself on the information. If you want to map it out, it mapped it out for me. And so this is just an example. It even turned it into a report. So I can take that and even turn it into one report, all of that information. And so that's just one example of how Notebook LM can be used. And so I want you to, if you want, you can take a few minutes to explore this. And so again, you can go to Google and look up Gemini Notebook to take your time to explore it. And as you're exploring it, I do want to share some ways that organizations are using Gemini Notebook. So some are using it to upload their policies and procedures and organizational documents. Let's say there's just a lot of internal documents that you want to like synthesize or turn into a quick PowerPoint or even a video, maybe for a new employee coming in. You're trying to develop resources for onboarding. Some people use that for maybe to draft emails and newsletters based on a lot of information. Let's say there's a lot of news articles that came out and about different resources that are available for the elder sector. And you wanted to just put it all in to just turn it into a PowerPoint or just one document. This is something that you can use it for as well. And so the use cases will really be on you to think about different ways to use it. And so I'm curious to know, and you can write it in the chat if you would like to unmute, just looking at that resource, what are some use cases that you can use it for? So as you're just looking at this, and remember, this isn't like ChatGPT because ChatGPT is pulling from everywhere, whereas Gemini Notebook is only pulling from the resources that you put in there. So think about it as like training your own GPT. And so it's only using the resources that you put in there. And so I'll take a moment just to see some use cases that you may have.
So Nadine, a question in there from Caroline, is Gemini Notebook free and how accurate is it?
So yes, Gemini Notebook is free. It's a free resource. Like what I just showed you, I don't pay anything for Gemini Notebook. So it is a free resource. They do have like a paid version, especially for like school districts, but everything that I just did, you can do it for free. And how accurate is it? That's a really good question. So Gemini Notebook is it pulls from the information that you put in there. And so as long as the information that you put in there is accurate, like Gemini Notebook will be as accurate as almost like the data that you trained it on, right? And so it also, and I'll go back there so you can see. Gemini Notebook also shows you where it found the information too. And so if I ask it a question, it's going to, you'll notice these little numbers here. And so it will show where it found that information. So let's say I see if AI is revolutionizing the research lifecycle by automating repetitive tasks. And I'm like, is this true? Does it actually do this? I can go back and see where in my resource it found that information. So you can go back and actually check everything, and it cites everything. It's a good question.
Nadine, interesting. I did not know the difference between this and ChatGPT. So I use ChatGPT almost 100% of the time, and it does search everywhere. So this is interesting because it is searching what you tell it, your own resources. You're feeding it. It's not doing a worldwide search. So it's really interesting because it's got a different purpose. I mean, I guess different benefit that here's, like you said, I've got this huge document that's 52 pages. Can I read 52 pages? I could, but could I have it summarized? Could I do a podcast and listen to it in my car from that? So it's really interesting. I did not understand the difference between that. So thank you. And then you've got a couple of comments in there in your chat. And Nadine, I don't know if you can see them. I don't want you to mess up your screen if that's a hassle for you.
It's okay. I can keep pulling it up.
Use cases. Gave it to the policies resources and then use it as a help bot to answer questions as they come in. Save so much time rather than having to look it up myself.
Yeah, that's an awesome use case. All right. So I wanted to show that tool, and so I'll go ahead and move on to the next one. And as we're going, just continue thinking about use cases. And if you want to continue even trying it while I'm on the call, you can. And if you have any questions that pop up, you can ask those as well. And so just some ethical considerations. So with confidentiality, please make sure that you're not entering any personally identifiable information about clients or caregivers, veterans, like anything into these tools. And so also human oversight is essential. And so we know no tool is perfect. And so although Notebook LM, I trust it more than I trust, like, for example, a chat GPT with information because I know it's only pulling from the information that I put in. I know where the information is coming from. Always go back and check. And so sometimes context can be lost. That's a big thing with Notebook LM. So it's summarizing all of these materials and resources that you uploaded. And so sometimes information can be lost. So if it's not necessarily capturing something the way I want it to, I will just redo the podcast so that it does it all over again to see what it generates next if I don't necessarily like the first output. And then another question to always ask is, should we, not just can we, because we can use AI for a lot of things, but the question is also, should we use AI in this specific context? For example, and I'm going off the rails here, but I remember I'm an educator at heart. So I remember working with students and I had a student who said, yes, this was in high school. He was like, I was using AI to break up with my girlfriend. I couldn't figure out how. So I created this AI generated message and then sent it to her. And so, like, can you use AI to do that? Yeah. Should you? Probably not, right? And so there's a lot of cases that we can use it, but we should always ask ourselves, should we actually use it in this scenario? All right. So now go. Oh,
Nadine, I'm sorry. Quick question. Carrie asked, are the podcasts AI generated voices or are they voices of real people?
they're AI generated voices.
Okay.
They sound like real people though, but it's AI. Really good questions. Okay, so now I'll jump over to talking a little bit more about ChatGPT. So you can use it for a lot of things. I know you probably use it to plan, to document things, also communicate. So you have the conversational AI, which is what a lot of people use it for. They go into the chat bots, they're having it rewrite, brainstorm with them. However, you also have agents that can actually plan, act, and actually do things for you. Because I know a lot of people already use a conversational AI. I'll just jump into how you can use agents within ChatGPT. Okay, so again, ChatGPT, GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. It doesn't think or have feelings. It just finds the best words based on patterns. And so when you go into settings, you should see something that says apps and connectors. So you can actually connect different applications to ChatGPT. I will say with agents, you will have to have like an upgraded version for agents. And so I can click on that plus sign and click on agent mode. And that plus sign is important, but a lot of people skip over it. And so I can click on agents and now I can describe a task. So I can say, hey, I want you to go into my Gmail and to check my Gmail for important information that I haven't important emails that I haven't responded to. That's actually like a bad prompt because how would it know what important is? But this just for an example. And now it goes through my Gmail. It tells me all the dates, the people who sent me emails, and these are all the emails that I have not responded to um, as part of that email. Sorry, I think I accidentally drew on my screen and I don't know how to take it off. Oh my gosh. Okay. Um, sorry, this is gonna drive me crazy if I see those like marks on here. Let's see if I can see how to erase.
I think Mac erased them for you, the Zoom producer.
Okay, thank you. That would have bothered me the entire time. Now let me see how to get rid of this pen and go back to the mouse. Okay. Okay, so now, let me X out of this. So now again, you'll need like an upgraded version for what I'm about to show you, but I do want to at least expose you to it so that when you hear about agents, you can see what people are talking about. Um, so one, you can go into settings and you can also personalize. Anybody can do this. So you can give your GPT custom instructions. So I say, I never want M dashes. I always want my tone to be friendly. And so it's going to consider that every time you type in a chat. If you have kids who are using it, you can have parental controls, which is important to consider too. This is very important. So under data controls, please, if you use ChatGPT, go in there and toggle this to off where it says improve model for everyone. They naturally keep it on. And so when you turn that off, you are saying, hey, I do not want you to use everything that I type in here to train your models because I don't know where it's going to end up next. And so you have to manually go in and turn it off when you go into data controls and it says improve model for everyone. Absolutely not. No, I don't want to improve this model for everyone. Turn it off. What they're saying is, can we use everything that you're typing in to train our models? And if they're using it to train their models, you don't know where that information is going to end up next. And so I keep that off. Okay, so I'm going to use an example that I used with ElderSource. So imagine ElderSource's CEO is speaking next week about the impact of food insecurity among older adults in Northeast Florida. Instead of spending hours researching, let's have an AI agent help us to build the first draft of the presentation. And so again, when you're prompting, we call this prompt engineering. So when you're typing in a prompt, there's an art to it. It's important. Your output is going to be as good as your input. And so certain things to consider with your input is the goal, like letting the AI know the goal. What are you trying to do? The role. Think of the perfect person that would be doing this role for you, whatever you're telling it to do, and tell the AI, this is who you are. And I know it sounds weird, but it works. Give it context, be very specific, give examples, even tell it the tone, the format. Whatever you don't tell it is going to just make something up. So if I don't tell it the audience, it's just going to just make up its own audience, right? So will the audience be caregivers? Is the audience going to be the actual like population that you're working with? Like, who's the audience? Is it people who work at your company? And so letting it know who the audience is. The length, constraints are like, I don't want you to include this. Please don't put this in here. So you can add constraints. And also iteration is once it gives you an output, you don't have to go with the first output it gives you. You can keep going back and forth with it until it's where you want it to be. And so here is a strong prompt that includes all of this, right? You are an executive research assistant supporting Elder Sources leadership. I'm telling it its role. Research the topic of food insecurity among older adults in Northeast Florida using current and reputable online sources such as government agencies, Feeding America, AARP, the USDA, the Florida Department of Elder Affairs, and other trusted nonprofit and public sector organizations. Focus on Florida and the counties served by ElderSource, including Duval, Baker, Clay, Nassau, St. John's, Flagler, and Volusia. Analyze current statistics, trends, risk factors, impacts on health and quality of life, effects on caregivers and families, service gaps, and potential solutions. Then create a professional PowerPoint presentation outline that includes an executive summary, key data and findings, community challenges, existing resources, opportunities for partnerships, recommendations for action, and discussion questions. For each slide, provide suggested content, speaker notes, recommended visuals or charts, and source citations. Finally, provide a list of all sources used and recommendations for transforming the outline into a compelling presentation for community leaders and stakeholders. So just see how specific I was with this prompt. And although this prompt took me some time, I know the output is going to be as close to what I actually want it to be. Remember, your output is going to be as good as your input. And so if we give it a quick prompt, the output's probably not going to be as specific as we want it to be. And I always say I want to see links for all their sources, but I also tell them who to cite as well, so that it's only coming from credible sources and they're just not pulling from anywhere on the internet. And so Now I went ahead and I have my agent on and I typed in this prompt and now it worked for 14 minutes. I recorded this ahead of time so that you guys aren't sitting waiting for 14 minutes for the agent to work. And so imagine an agent as somebody who can like work for you. Even if you step away from your computer, the agent is still going. And so in the background, so I can set that agent to go and I can start doing something else. You can upload different files as well and then it could also search the internet. And so now it worked for 14 minutes. And also, as it's working, I didn't show you the process while it's working. You can take over from an agent at any time and start working on top of it. And so now it went all the way through. It pulled up all of this information. Everywhere where you see these like gray ovals, you'll see where it's cited or where it got that information from. So I know that ChatGPT isn't just hallucinating. Hallucinating is when it just starts making up stuff and sounding confident about it. I can see that it's not just hallucinating, but it's actually pulling from credible sources. And so it didn't give me the presentation. And so I did a little bit of iteration saying, now I want a presentation. And then it worked for 17 more minutes to now create a presentation for me that included all of these things. And so here's how the presentation looks. And you can do this even without agents. I like agents because it gives me better results, but you can do this and ask it to create presentations and things for you even without it. But you'll see that it created graphs and all of that. It cited all the information I needed to be cited. And so it pulled everything that I asked it to do in that prompt. Okay. And so just a few ethical considerations. Just knowing that these tools are not perfect. So always going back and checking and making sure that what it's saying is actually accurate. So I always go back and look at the sources that it pulled from. And so I know some of you are probably in the space where you're like, okay, people in my at my company are asking me about AI. I'm trying to figure out a roadmap to support them with this. And so I do a lot of work, especially in the educational sector. And so I use what we kind of do in the education sector to kind of create and tweaked it to fit more of a business perspective so that you can get an idea of how you can kind of go through this process of implementing AI in your business. And so the first thing that you would do would be to name an executive sponsor, somebody, a senior leader responsible for making sure that all of this work connects to strategy, the customer experience, legal, staff capacity, somebody who will be over this work and then form some type of cross-functional AI team. And so like in education, they form an AI task force. And so think of a task force who would implement this, but making sure that in order to build coherence, you have representatives from each department. You never want an AI team that only focuses on one department, for example, technology, because whatever we do affects all the other departments. And so it's important to have those voices at the table as we're building things out. And so creating some type of functional team and then completing a current state scan. So really looking at how your employees and people are currently using AI and then mapping that out, what data is involved, who is going to be affected, what can possibly go wrong, what has worked well with using it, and then go into drafting some type of AI business vision. So what does this look like? What should help what could AI help us to improve? Where are we even trying to go? So it's not about the tool, it's more about using these tools to kind of support the goals that you already have. And then also listening to stakeholders before finalizing. It's so important to include the voices of anybody who's going to be affected. And so if you're planning on using it with your employees, bringing in those voices. If you plan on using it with your customers, bringing in their voices. And that's how you get buy-in as well. And then choosing practical AI use cases, thinking about a low risk place to start, and then setting basic rules before testing. And so asking questions like what information should never be entered into these tools? When must a person review AI output before it is used? When should customers be told AI is being used? How can a customer reach a person? And then selecting 1 to 3 pilots to actually try out, just small, low lift pilots to try it out in your business. And then collecting evidence and learning from it, and then deciding what to keep, what to revise, what to scale, and what to completely stop. It's okay for a pilot not to go well and to make the decision to completely stop something or not use something. And it happens all the time. And so trying like small pilots, maybe with a small group of people who are willing to try, maybe you have people who are excited about using technology, seeing how it goes with them, and then deciding like, oh, we love this. We want to keep this. We want to change this. We want to scale this and do this all throughout our company, or nope, this isn't working. Like, we're going to stop this altogether. Okay, so now I want to jump into the ripple effect. And so the ripple effect is a project that I started as a presidential leadership scholar, and I'll talk more about that. But before I do, I just want to tell you a little story. So a couple years ago, I went home to visit my mom and dad, and I know my parents are aging, and so I try to be very cognizant of like putting work to the side sometimes and just doing surprise trips to just spend time with them. However, the entire time I was there, they were completely ignoring me and they were on their phones. My mom was playing some like game she found on Facebook. I don't know what she was playing. I just know her fingers were moving really fast. And my dad kept showing me a ton of videos. But the problem was almost every video that my dad showed me was completely AI generated. And so I told my parents, I was like, okay, if you're going to completely ignore me, I am going to show you how to use these tools in a way that's effective. And so what I did was I had them put their phones away and I connected my laptop to the TV and I did a presentation similar to this one. And so I started to show them how they can use AI in different ways. I started by uploading a picture of my dad, not best practice. I would suggest never to upload a picture of somebody into these systems because that would be considered like personally identifiable information, but I did. I uploaded this picture of my dad into ChatGPT and I gave it a simple prompt: make him eat a banana. And this is significant because my dad hates bananas and he's never eaten one in his life, other than when I added it to his pancake one time when I was cooking. But he's never actually eaten a banana. And so within seconds, my dad was able to see how easily I could manipulate this picture of him. And so then I did a picture of my mom and dad holding raccoons. My mom hates raccoons. They're always in her trash can. And then my husband feeding me grapes on my throne. And so they were able to see how easy pictures and information could be manipulated online. Um, and so then my mom used to send me a whole bunch of information on WhatsApp, and she would send it to me as if it were truth. But then my mom started to send me things saying, instead of saying, hey, I want you to watch this video of something that happened, she would now say, is this AI? Sometimes it would be, and sometimes it wasn't AI generated. But now my mom got to the place where she's now questioning things that she sees online. Even if she can't automatically look at something and say it's AI generated or not, she's at least at a place where she can question everything that she sees. And so that's how the ripple effect came about from that experience with my parents. My mom would tell me, hey, Nadine, you're immersed in these environments. I'm retired. I don't know what's going on. I don't know how technology is advancing. And I started to feel bad because I'm like, man, my mom is feeling, the person who raised me and taught me pretty much everything is now feeling like the world is leaving her behind. And I never wanted somebody, especially our aging populations, to ever feel like they're getting left behind and society is moving at a faster pace. The type of advancements we would see once every 10 years, we're now seeing every 3 months. And I cannot imagine how somebody would feel. And so that's how the ripple effect came about. So we serve really like students and teachers. Sometimes we'll go into schools, community members. We'll go into like community events. But my biggest focus is on adults 60 and older, or older adults. And so this came about being a part of the Presidential Leadership Scholars Program. And so they bring 60 people throughout the nation together, and we each think of a way that we can impact the community. And so the Ripple Effect was my project that I'm using to impact the community, starting here in Northeast Florida and eventually spreading throughout the US. And so, again, as I mentioned earlier, I'm an educator at heart. I started off as a teacher here in Duval County Public Schools. It was very unconventional. My students went viral all the time for our unconventional ways of teaching using singing, dancing, games. And so I believe that learning can be fun. And so bringing in those same methods has been very important to me. I also still run a Minecraft student ambassador program. I used to serve as the global education community manager for the game Minecraft at Microsoft. I left there last year in January and focused on Ebri education full time. And so I still run a local Minecraft student ambassador program where I train students, and students go out into the community teaching other kids how to code using Minecraft. And so they teach them how to code, they teach them about AI using Minecraft. And so I wanted to do something similar to the work that I was already doing, but now instead of working just with middle school students to go out into the community to make a difference, now I decided to work with college students. And so I partnered with the Taylor Leadership Institute under Dr. Matthew Olson at the University of North Florida. I'm a triple Osprey, swoop, if we have any Ospreys on the call. And so the goal is to train students to then go out into the community to train older adults. And so whether it's going to independent living centers, whether it's like just community centers, like my husband's grandmother goes to, just going into these spaces to train them so that they can learn about AI and how to use it in a way that's safe, but also if they're not using it, recognizing AI scams because they are becoming way more advanced. And I'll show you what that looks like. And so they're each responsible for training 600 people each semester. And the goal is to get to 100,000 people by the year 2030. That's my goal, to cause such a ripple effect that by the year 2030, 100,000 people will have been trained and to have built some type of AI literacy around AI. And so some of the types of AI-driven scams that we're seeing is voice cloning. Now AI can make it where somebody can clone your voice to sound just like you. And I'll show you what that looks like. They can create deep fake videos. And so even a video of you saying and doing things and it's not you. AI enhanced phishing emails, where now it's personalized emails that feels like it's coming straight to you. Fake AI customer support, where they're calling them even from saying like, okay, well, this is your bank and this happened, and they're being very specific, and they're not even a real customer support or even tech support. And then also you have fake websites that can be developed in seconds now, and even romance scams. That's apparently really big right now too. And so this problem has caused a rising loss in money. And so the FTC reported that older adults aggregate fraud losses, that these skyrocketed, aggregate fraud losses skyrocketed from about 600 million in 2020 to 2.4 billion in 2024. And so one of the biggest scams is the grandparent emergency scam. And so two big cases were in Pennsylvania, an older couple, they lost $18,000 to a caller who used an AI generated voice. And also this happened again that same month. And so putting people out of a lot of money. And so if you're wondering what it looks like, I'm going to show you a quick video of what this can look like.
Deborah Del Mastro never thought something like this could happen to her.
I answered the phone, and the voice on the other side said, "I have someone here that you need to talk to."
The stranger on the phone said her adult daughter, Sarah, had been kidnapped, and he claimed to have proof.
I hear my daughter's voice, sobbing, trying to breathe, having a panic attack. And she says, "I'm so sorry, Mom. I'm so scared. I'm so sorry." My mouth just dropped.
The caller demanded Del Mastro wire $5,400 to multiple locations in Mexico.
I was ready to do anything to save my daughter, to protect her, to save her, to get her back.
She wired the money. Only then did she try calling her daughter. Sarah answered right away. She was at work like normal. The whole thing was a scam. The money was gone. With AI, scammers can now.
Okay, I know you're probably wondering, what does this look like? How? How does this happen? So I'm going to show you. So I did this demonstration for my parents using my niece. Of course, I got her and her mom's permission to clone her voice. And they start by all they need is to find a video of you talking. It could be a video of you talking online. It could be even they can pull from your voice message that you leave at the end of a call. So it's very hard to protect it because they can pull from anywhere, especially if you're a public facing person. But all they need is about 30 seconds, a small clip of your voice. And the more audio they have, the better the cloning will sound. And so I did this with my niece, and I started by cloning her voice.
In the classroom of life, wisdom is the greatest lesson.
And then once the voice is cloned, scammers can now generate new audio of that person saying whatever they want them to say.
Auntie Nadine is the best auntie in the world. Oh, thank you, Jasmine. Hi, Grandma. I'm in trouble. May you transfer me $100?
And my niece's voice is very easy to duplicate because she sounds like AI anyway. So, okay. So then I tried to trick my family to see who actually fell for it. And so we called my sisters and also my husband to see who actually fell for it.
Hi, Auntie Natalie. I'm calling from my mom's phone because my phone died. May you transfer me $100, please?
Is this what they're using now to fool people?
Hi, Uncle Junior. May you transfer me $100, please? Don't tell my mom. Thank you so much. Hi, Uncle Clement. May you transfer me $100 for Auntie Nadine?
No, this is AI.
All right, turns out none of them fell for it. They all knew it was me up to my shenanigans again. But a lot of people do, and I at least, even though it was just all in fun, I wanted my parents to be exposed to that as much as possible because these types of scams are growing exponentially. And so we launched at UNF. We did a pilot this spring. We trained over 500 people. And thank you to so many of you. I especially want to give a special shout out to Elder Source, where we were able to go into an independent living center and just be able to do an initial training. And so during that pilot, and so our next phase, we would like to expand to different universities, but first focusing on UNF. That's our greatest focus right now, just strengthening the work that we're already doing. And we have our first event in partnership with UNF, their director of the Center of Aging and Research. We have that event coming up in August, and I'll be able to share that information later with Laura so she can share it with you all. And so if you would like to support the Ripple Effect, you can support if you want to sponsor a student, you could do that too. You can sponsor a student or you can sponsor events. Or if you just want to request fellows for your community, you can do that as well. And so we are working on building up the next cohort of students, working with the honors program at UNF, also as well as the Taylor Leadership Institute to bring in some more students. And so they'll be ready to go by like late September, October. And so if you want anybody to come in around those months, we will be more than happy to come into different centers to work with you all. And so if you want to learn more, if you want to join the Ripple, or if you even want to support, you can go to www.ebrieducation.org. And if you scroll all the way down, you'll be able to see more information on the Ripple Effect. So thank you again for having me. And thank you, Laura, for bringing me in. And if you have any questions, I'll stick around so I can answer any questions that you may have.
Excellent. So Nadine, somebody said, how do we get a student to come out to our community? Is that www that they reach out that way to say, we've got a population here and we want them to come out?
Yes. And then I'll also paste the link as well. And I would say another great way is you could just email me. I'll put my email in the chat if that's easier. So you don't have to go through all those steps.
Yeah, seeing several folks there. Is the Ripple only in Jacksonville? And I think you said it's going to go national. Right now, it's just Jacksonville and then Florida, and what's that rollout look like?
Yeah, so it's just in Jacksonville right now, like in the Northeast Florida region, just easy enough in a space where the students at UNF can easily travel to.
Got it. And then if there's any other quick questions, let me give you a minute if anybody wants to type it into the chat. Nadine is putting her contact information. So Nadine, do you want them to use that to get somebody set up to come out and come to their organization? Your email address is the best way?
Yes, you can just email me. I think that would be the easiest way.
Okay. And so I'm keeping an eye on the chat. In a couple minutes, we'll do the final drawing. But a couple things from this. Nadine is a local resource. You heard all of it. I won't brag about that, but it's a huge, big deal. She got picked for the presidential scholarship. We couldn't get her the last couple of senior roundtable meetings because she was hobnobbing with the presidents. You saw the pictures. Those were not AI generated, by the way. That was her hanging out with the president. She's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. We're at President Bush house that day. We're not." I'm like, "Oh, excuse me, but maybe could we look at July?" She's here and she does programs. She has even an online, if you go to her website, there's an online course that you can take that's self-paced. There's all kinds of educational things that for you, for your team, for your staff, etc., people in your life. Secondly, what an awesome program. And we wanted to get her in front of everybody in the elder sector. So if you even know other people she should talk to about it, or even passing her information on saying, hey, you work with the senior population, consider having their group come in and do this for them. So some huge benefits we hope from you. And I learned a ton today. And again, I had to go to 10 different places yesterday to collect donations for an event coming up for a nonprofit. I had AI, but I put the 10 places in. I said, put them in the logical order from a map standpoint, so I'm not driving all over town. And it did. It's like I'm at this one, 3 miles later, I'm at this one. It did everything in a perfect line, but I wasn't backtracking. So, and it took probably 30 seconds for it to do that. I would have taken hours to try to figure that out. So let me just make sure we're not missing anything there. Last call on any questions. Some funny ones in there. Gabby loved that you tested it on your family. It was pretty funny. And let me just make sure that there's nothing else. Rosa looking for the education. Caroline mentioned it also. A lot of good things. River Garden doing some work with this as well, and good tips in there. So if not anything else, we are going to switch over to my slides. Huge round of applause, virtually or in your mind or whatever that might look like for Nadine. Thank you for taking time. And when I say it's a miracle, we are able to grab her, and I mean it. She's got a million things going on. And if you are a LinkedIn person, follow her on LinkedIn. It's fascinating watching all the things that she is involved in. So with that, let me move us forward. And Nadine, again, thank you so much. Thank you to Beaches Council on Aging for being our sponsor today. In just a quick second, we're going to go ahead and roll and pick our 2 winners for the Amazon gift card. I will contact those 2 folks after the meeting. I'll connect you with Lori, and she'll get those sent to you electronically. Our next meeting, we are planning on a hybrid meeting. Again, come see us in person, or if it's easier for you to jump on Zoom. And then our last meeting of the year will be in November. So looking forward to seeing everyone there. I am going to bump myself off because I think Mac is going to run our wheel of names for us. Gabby. Congratulations, Gabby. All that hard work with whatever last name you choose for me to use. Good job. And Anna, is Anna still here? I think Anna's here with us. Anna, are you here with us? I think Anna's still here. All right, Anna, are you with us? Oh, no. I don't see Anna on the participant list. All right. I'm very sorry. If you know Anna, don't even tell her. She'll just be depressed all weekend. That's not our intention. Eustatius. And you know what? It's not just because Eustatius introduced us to Nadine. That was not a plant. He legitimately won that. Mac doesn't even know Eustatius. So that was legitimate. So Eustatius and Gabby, I will contact you after the meeting's over, connect you with Lori, and we'll move forward. Nadine, thank you. I think you are in our LinkedIn group for our North Florida Senior Roundtable. So you can also find Nadine there as well. Always want to encourage you, follow her on LinkedIn. It's just some great stuff that she's doing. And if you've got that senior population, reach out. They're ready to get some training for your folks. Thanks, everybody. Have a good rest of the summer, and we hope to see you in September. Goodbye.
Thank you.